Hello and welcome everybody to MediConsult. My name is Wolfgang Jaksch. I'm the CEO of MediConsult International. And with this little video, I would like to introduce you a brand new update which recently came out for your imore system. We called it the imore 2.0. So what's behind that? imore, as you know, is an optional add-on for your imore system, which allows you to monitor biofeedback signals out of your body during an imore application. imore stands for Interactive Monitoring and Regulation System. The imore 1.0 was available with the launch of the imore, and right now we came out with this brand new update, and I would like to explain a little bit what's behind. So let's see. imore works on the background of heart rate variability. What is heart rate variability? You see a little graph here which shows you an analysis of consecutive heartbeats, which you can see here. And heart rate variability actually doesn't count the amount of heartbeats. Furthermore, it counts the breaks between the heartbeats, which we see here on this line. So the break between one heartbeat and the other one. This timeline here can be evaluated, and if we have a certain amount of heartbeats, consecutive heartbeats, we are able to compare the breaks between these heartbeats here. And these breaks, the comparing of these breaks, they give us an idea about the so-called heart rate variability. Heart rate variability gives you a very clear picture about the status of your autonomic nervous system. That's the sympathetic, parasympathetic system, whether it's in balance or whether it's already out of balance. So it's actually a very good parameter to determine how you react on external stimuli. In our case, the stimuli caused by the imore with the magnetic field application. So this is actually how we determine the heart rate variability within the control unit of the imore. We use a so-called histogram. So what we do, we count a certain number of heartbeats, and then we determine the breaks in between, and then we calculate how many, for example, if the basic benchmark is 70 heartbeats a minute, how many heartbeats would be 69, 68, 66, or going to the other direction, 71, 72. So how flexible will be your heart rate within, let's say, 60 or 90 seconds. And out of this histogram, we can get a brief picture whether your HRV is very flexible or whether it's very static, which gives us a very good idea about the situation of your autonomic nervous system. A lot of people always think that the more consistent and the more equal your heartbeat is, the better your autonomic nervous system. It's actually totally the opposite. The more flexible your heart is reacting on external stimuli, the better your balance on the autonomic nervous system. So the better the possibility of the entire organism to regulate itself. And this is actually, this picture which you see right now will be automatically calculated within the imore. And so let's see how we do that. With the new imore 2.0, we refined the algorithm within the imore. And people who already use the imore 1.0, so the first system we came out with, they know that they have 3 levels how to determine heart rate variability: 1, 2, or 3. With the new imore 2.0, we increased the increments within our histogram. So like I said, we refined the algorithm, and instead of having 3 categories, we now have 7 categories how we can determine the flexibility of your heart rate. So category 1 displays a heart rate variation lower than 5 beats a minute. Category 2 lower than 7, 3 lower than 9, so in between 7 and 9, category 4 lower than 11, and category 5 lower than 13 beats per minute, category 6 lower than 15, and the category 7, which will show us the most flexible heart rate variability, would be a difference within a certain time frame of more than 15 heartbeats per minute. So this is actually a total new approach to use the imore 2.0 together with the IMRS system. Why are we going to use that? Because now we are actually able to get biofeedback parameters out of the body during an application, and depending on how the autonomic nervous system reacts on the external stimuli, we are able to measure that, to evaluate that, and in the same time to correct the intensity which is applied to the body according to the response. So the goal is, and why we increased it to seven increments, is the goal is to utilize the entire intensity range of the IMRS during its entire application dynamically. The IMRS Complete and Professional provides us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 intensities. The well-fit would be 7. So actually, if you would, for example, start with intensity 10, with a very low heart rate variability of 1, and it would, during an application, it would go up to category 7, you would be able to automatically adjust the intensity up to the full range of the intensity range which the IMRS provides. So this is a very cool thing, and this makes every application more individually. So here's an example so that we get a little bit of an understanding how it practically works. Let's say we start a whole body application with the IMRS with a basic intensity of 50. Very important, you still have to set the first benchmark by your own. So you cannot just press the button, the start button, and let the IMRS evaluate the right intensity. We need a first benchmark which has to be chosen by yourself according to the setting which you receive from your MediConsult lifestyle consultant. So let's say here we start a application on the whole body mat with a basic intensity of 50, and then, you know, once you put the ear sensor on your earlobe, the IMRS together with the imore 2.0 starts evaluating the heart rate variability. This takes about 60 to 90 seconds, a little bit depending on the individual, how fast the IMRS can recognize the heartbeat, and then it starts counting, and it needs about 60 heartbeats to determine the first benchmark. So let's say after 90 seconds the first benchmark would be category 3. This is actually the reference for the IMRS to evaluate the next benchmark and then comparing it with the first benchmark. And depending on that comparison, the IMRS would decide by itself whether to increase or to decrease the intensity. In our example here, the first benchmark would be 3, so we have to wait another 60 minutes to get the second benchmark. In our example, this would be benchmark number 5, category 5. So what happens if you start with a start intensity of 50 and you go from 3 to 5, that means to get categories up, the result will be that the IMRS increases the intensity from intensity 50 to intensity 150, 2 steps, which makes sense. If your benchmark goes from 3 to 5, the intensity goes from 50 to 150 because it's 2 steps. Let's go further with our example. Another 60 seconds later, we get another update out of the imore 2.0, and let's say the third benchmark would be category 4, and it was 5 the minute before. The result would be that the IMRS decreases the intensity from 150 to 100, 1 step. So this is actually the cool thing about imore 2.0, that you can utilize the entire intensity range, and the system always adjusts the intensity directly to the response of the autonomic nervous system. So it makes it more effective. and it also makes it easier for you to use the IMRS with a proper setting. Let's go further here. Here we have like a screenshot out of one picture. So what you're going to see is, here you see the application time, the remaining application time. You can see the application is running. Here you can see that you use the whole body mat. Here you can see the Chinese organ clock, so it's the night setting. The polarity at the moment is at south, and here is the intensity. So here you're going to see the heartbeats per minute, and here, this number here, it's actually the determined category of imore 2.0. So that's what you're going to see on your display during an application with the imore 2.0. At the end of each application, you're going to automatically receive a little graph on your display of the IMRS control unit. It will automatically appear once the application is done. So very simple here. You can see this timeline. It shows you the duration of the application. In our example, 24 minutes. So what happened here? The IMRS needed about 2 minutes to determine the first benchmark of the heart rate variability, which is this blue line here. So there was nothing at the beginning, and after 2 minutes we got the first benchmark here, which is 3. So we start the imore setting with a heart rate variability of category 3. We also started the entire application with an intensity level of 50. So what happens after 2 minutes? Nothing happens, because after the first benchmark, the IMRS will not yet change anything, because it needs a second benchmark to have a comparison. So what happened here was that after 7 minutes, or after 8 minutes here, the imore detected a decrease of the detected a decrease of the heart rate variability from 3 to 2. So what the IMRS did at that time, it automatically decreased the intensity from 50 to 25. And then it took only 1 minute, and then the imore detected another increase in the HRV from 2 to 3. So the intensity followed again one step higher from 25 to 50. And then, for another couple minutes, nothing was changing. And then here again, the HRV increased from category 3 to 4, and so automatically the intensity was adjusted by the IMRS control unit. And this goes on and on. Whenever there is a change in heart rate variability, the intensity will be automatically adjusted till the end of the application. Here you can also see that at the end, after 23 minutes, the heart rate variability dropped down from 3 to 1, and here the intensity followed. So actually what we have here, we have a very good a very powerful modality how we are able now to dynamically adjust the applied magnetic field intensity according to the reaction of the autonomic nervous system. So here we have another example. So you can see, that's what you see. By the way, the graph, like I told you, it automatically shows up at the end of the application on the display. It will stay for about 4 minutes, and then it will disappear again. Here we have an example of an application which only lasted 8 minutes. So we also started with an intensity level of 50. And at the beginning, after 3 minutes, we had the first benchmark, which was 2, and then it went up, but because it was 3, sorry, but the intensity didn't go up here because it's the first benchmark. So we need a second one to compare, and then the IMRS is able to adjust the intensity. So in this case, after 4 minutes, the heart rate variability dropped 1 level down, and automatically the intensity drops 1 level down. And this goes on and on and on till the end of the application. So also here you can see the dynamic approach of the applied magnetic field, and so it makes every application 100% individually, according to the state of the art of your autonomic nervous system at the moment when you lie on the whole body mat. So built in the new update, imore 2.0 update, is a second tool which we called the gradual intensity programming. This is actually a tool which we developed specially for healthcare providers. It's actually probably not so necessary for home use, but for healthcare providers we built that in. So you can activate the gradual intensity programming by pressing two keys on your imrs control unit at the same time. It's the soft key proc simultaneously with the button P1. So once you do that, the display shows you the possibility of putting in gradual intensity, and let's say you build your own application over time with different intensities and times. So what you do is you choose the applicator and then you choose the timer. How long would you like to stay with a certain intensity? Once you did the first setting, you press enter. So for example here, the grad 1 is you can set between 1 to 8 minutes and set the intensity. And then after you press the enter button, it asks for gradual intensity number 2. So you can also again set up the time and the intensity. For example, you say the first intensity was 2 minutes and sensitive. The next intensity after that, it should change to 4 minutes and 25. Then you press enter again, and then you can put in the third gradual intensity, the fourth and the fifth. So up to 5 different settings can be adjusted, and the imrs, after you did that and you press the enter button after the fifth input, here we are, the imrs automatically calculates the 5 steps together in one application, and it will of course during the application, in this case of 16 minutes, it's already 1 minute and 8 seconds running. Whenever you set after 4 minutes, for example, I want to change from 10 to 25, the system will automatically do so as you pre-programmed it within the gradual intensity proc. So this is actually a tool. We know that a lot of healthcare practitioners are very experienced with PMF already, and they can adjust an entire application with different intensity settings and time settings, and so make an application more effective for certain kind of conditions. The upgrade is available also for existing clients and for new clients, so it's a general option. So you won't get it automatically with your imrs. You can order that upgrade for $79 US or Canadian. If you want to update your system, your existing system, to imore 2.0, you have to ship your imrs control unit to the designated MediConsult office in your country at your cost. The programming and shipping back is included in the $79, and it's available since last year, October 1st. So it's no problem for all existing users and owners of imrs to do the upgrade right away. So that was a short introduction of the imore 2.0. If you have any further questions, you can always contact your responsible MediConsult lifestyle consultant or call your respective office in your country. Thank you very much and stay healthy. Bye.